Some of these mushrooms, like the reishi, right, and one of its nicknames that goes back thousands of years is the mushroom of immortality. So if you're wanting to like help that process of, as I heard it said once, the goal is to die young, as old as you possibly can be. Fungal organisms are one of the assets that can really be an ally to a person's health and well-being. The turkey tail can significantly support immune cell engagement, right? That's helping our immune cells actually become aware and more active. Yeah. And it also plays a vital role in immune modulation. And that's the part of the immune system's response that's helping our immune system move through all of the stages more gracefully and in a time-oriented manner.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 135. I'm your host here, Dr. Dayan of the podcast. And look who's back, our good friend here representing Host Defense Mushrooms with over 25 years of involvement, folks, in the natural products industry. Richard Cividanes is joining us here today, back on the pod. His experience includes working as a staff member in health food stores and natural food co-ops in New York and Washington State. Richard is part of the family who founded Topical BioMedics and developed the award-winning homeopathic topical brand, Topricin. He was their brand manager and educator for 15 years, where he regularly traveled the country, educating thousands of retail staff and medical professionals on the benefits of homeopathy and Topricin in particular. 2 years into his employment with Fungi Perfecti, which is Host Defense, the parent name there, he is excited to share his love and admiration of the fungal kingdom here today, with its unique abilities to support the health of mind, body, spirit, and planet during his educational lectures and conversations. Richard, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Doctor. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Likewise, my friend. So let's kind of start from the top. Someone that's never met you before, that's first time hearing you here on the podcast. Why mushrooms, Richard? Why focus on this and not, for example, I don't know, vitamin combinations or different type, or sticking with homeopathy still? I know you have involvement in that. Why did you choose to kind of switch pace here and go to mushroom, the fungi kingdom?
Yeah, and thanks for that. It's been something that I have personally been involved in for a good portion of my adult life. I'm in my 50s now, and I've even been in the sphere of fungi perfecti for the last 20.
You look like you're in your 30s, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think maybe all the mushrooms.
That's right.
I've been in the sphere of fungi perfecti for 25 years. I have been an enjoyer of mushroom forays in the forest and learning about these organisms for a very long time. In fact, even back in our history with Topricin, there was a moment in time where we had asked Paul Stamet, the founder of Fungi Perfecti, to help us produce homeopathic remedies from the agarikon mushroom, which is one of our most interesting species that we work with. And so, when I came into the fold into Fungi Perfecti, I'm going into I think this will be coming into my 5th year now. It's been a pleasure to be able to be a part of the team that is really helping to spread knowledge and information about the power of fungi and how they can help not only people, but also the planet. To answer the question that you started off there with, like, why fungi, even though I do think it's important that people consider, good nutrition and all of the other foundational pillars of health, using fungal organisms as a day-to-day process, whether you're enjoying them in your meals or you're using them as supplementation, that kingdom of fungi, which consists of our mushrooms, molds, and yeasts, it is the most pharmacologically active kingdom on planet Earth. These organisms are phenomenal at producing very, very broad ranges of compounds. And obviously, research has not identified and found out what each and every compound does, but of the hundreds that have been studied, we find consistent abilities for them to support human immune system health as well as other systems of our body. So whether again you're consuming them in your diet or using them also as supplementation, it is a great addition to a wellness and health plan. And some of these mushrooms, like the reishi, right, and one of its nicknames that goes back thousands of years is the mushroom of immortality. So if you're wanting to like help that process of, as I heard it said once, the goal is to die young, as old as you possibly can be, fungal organisms are one of the assets that can really be an ally to a person's health and well-being.
Thank you, Richard. Perfect breakdown here. I want to highlight that's a great intro to why someone would even have them on their radar. You know, a lot of people are focused on other phenomenal things like multivitamins, multiminerals, different other herbs, which I like Host Defense because you have the mycobotanical line as well, where you're combining all the different herbal medicines, botanicals with the world of the fungi, the mushrooms here. I pulled up one of Paul's favorite bundles here. So for those who don't know, Paul Stamets is the founder here of Host Defense Mushrooms. And he has the Stamet 7 product, which we've highlighted in previous episodes. That one has Japanese research back in it. Then I pulled up here, he has the agarikon, turkey tail, lion's mane trio. And why specifically, what would you say is his reasoning for narrowing it down to these three? There's like 10, 15, 20 plus different mushrooms here available at Host Defense. Tell us about the trifecta here, turkey tail, agarikon, and lion's mane.
A wonderful trifecta to consider and think about. With lion's mane, the published research on that mushroom, when we're looking at mushroom fruit body research and mushroom mycelium research, it has been very consistent in its findings that it can support cognitive functioning, nerve health, digestive system health, and it also moderately supports the immune response as well. So we have a lot of people in our communities in America that are aging. And so cognitive functioning and memory, mood, these types of things are becoming larger and larger considerations for a larger population. And it is a mushroom that clearly has been shown in recent research over the last number of decades that's been repeated to have this ability to support cognitive functioning, memory, mood, even sleep cycles to some degree. And then again, it also plays a part in supporting digestive system health, microbiome health as well. So you get that beautiful combination of the gut-brain connection and all of the crosstalk that's happening between these organ systems that can be supported by that lion's mane mushroom. Now, pivoting more towards let me stay with the microbiome just for a moment as I pivot into turkey tail and agarikon.
Yeah.
There is some significant published research on turkey tail as well that shows that it is a phenomenal prebiotic mushroom for helping to feed our resident microflora in our large intestine. So they're feeding off of it. That helps provide them with the capacity to replicate and grow their colony numbers. And as we're learning more and more about this interaction with the microbiome and these myriad amount of bacterial and fungal species that exist in our digestive tracts, we know that those are being linked more and more towards health and well-being also. And turkey tail not only is supporting microbiome health, but it in the published research also shows a great impact in helping with liver health. That's one of the hardest working organs in our body in regards to the way that it is regularly helping us detoxify. And my numbers may be off here a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that it's right around 500 different important functions that have been identified that the liver organ plays in our body. So supporting that organ system as well is really important. Turkey tail as a standalone species is fantastic. It's also one of the mushrooms you'll find in our Mycobotanicals liver formula because of its capacity to support the liver organ. And then turkey tail also plays a great role in its ability to support our immune system. And this is where the combination of turkey tail and agarikon together can be a really hitting like dual, mushroom, use. The turkey tail can significantly support immune cell engagement, right? That's helping our immune cells actually become aware and more active. Yeah. And it also plays a vital role in immune modulation. And that's the part of the immune system's response that's helping our immune system move through all of the stages more gracefully and in a time-oriented manner. And then on the flip of that, agarikon can significantly support immune cell engagement and recruitment, those first stages, but then it robustly supports the pacification and clearance, that modulatory activity, and what we call day-to-day regenerative tissue activity for the immune system as well. So that's like a 1-2 punch for the immune system with these two mushrooms. Turkey tail strongly supporting engagement and recruitment and moderately supporting that pacification and clearance, where agarikon is is moderately supporting that immune cell engagement and recruitment, but then is just absolutely robustly supporting clearance and resolution as well. And both of those mushrooms, all three of these mushrooms, actually, going back to lion's mane, all of them have this long arc of historical use as well, that have been happening within different cultures on the planet for many, many hundreds, and in some cases even thousands of years. And that's also where I really find a lot of, you know, a lot of really appreciable like impacts for these
Right.
organisms. They're not new. As a species,
Yes.
being humans, we have been interacting with these fungal organisms, some of them for thousands of years. And that shows a high level of safety when we're using them, you know, unless you have an allergy to fungal organisms. Most people can use them safely. They don't have a lot of contraindications
Right.
connected to them in regards to other medications. And those are, again, also benefits when we're considering the supplementation and or even utilizing them in our diets. Now, of these three, the only one you could actually want to eat in your meals would be the lion's mane.
Okay.
And the fruit body of that mushroom has this very subtle seafood-like flavor. So like when I prepare it at my home, we make fish tacos or like crab cake-like meals with the lion's mane, because it really does impart the seafood-like
Oh,
flavor. And
wow.
even the consistency of the fruit body itself is very like
Right.
seafood-like in its texture. The turkey tail and the agarikon, those are more beneficial. You're going to be using extractions of those mushrooms, or like how we're preparing them in the capsules you're seeing there. That's the mushroom mycelium of the organism, which is the longest living aspect of the species that we call the mushroom, right? The mushroom is that fruiting body or sporocarp. That's the reproductive organ of the organism, whereas the mycelium is doing and playing all of the other metabolic and enzymatic roles for the organism,
Right.
and is very, very much hidden from us in the ecosystems because of how it threads through soil systems and into decaying matter as well.
Wow. What a great breakdown, Richard. Thank you for that. I appreciate
Of
that. This is
course.
Paul Stamet's pick, folks. The trifecta: lion's mane, turkey tail, and agarikon, broken down there by yours truly, Richard Cividanes. And folks, I know a lot of people have heard of lion's mane. Probably this is the one that most people have heard of, but these two probably not as well heard of or mentioned in other different publications or interviews. But turkey tail, we're not giving medical advice here, right, Richard? We're just kind of showing people what the research says and what other practitioners or other people have used in their lifestyle. Turkey tail is often used in anti-cancer therapies. Is that correct? You want to touch on that a little bit? We're not saying it's anti-cancer itself, but it's been used in different protocols like that, correct?
Yeah, yes, and it is a mushroom too. It is one of the mushrooms that has the most published research studies on it.
Exactly.
In Asian countries, Japan,
Wow.
Korea, China, has been deeply studied as a whole mushroom. The mycelium has been studied. The fruit bodies have been studied. Isolated compounds out of the mycelium and the fruit bodies have been studied. Some of those have been actually turned and converted into more of a pharmaceutical-like medication that people utilize most usually in those Asian countries. And again, a lot of the research on that mushroom species is in its ability to support immune cell engagement and recruitment. And then again, with that moderate ability to help pacify and modulate the immune response back into that watchful waiting. So yeah, really, really powerful mushroom to consider when you're thinking about wanting to support your immune response. It's in my opinion, it's a vital mushroom species to be aware of if that's a goal of yours.
Right. Perfect. So we've highlighted there lion's mane, the trifecta there from Paul Stamets, his top three pick, the agarikon as well. So there's just different things depending on what you're looking for. Let's say somebody's fatigued, run down. You know, we got a lot of people that have hypothyroidism in this country, much more common than hyperthyroidism, meaning we got like a slower functioning, hypofunctioning thyroid can lead to fatigue, weight gain, feeling cold all the time. What kind of mushroom are you thinking of when you hear this kind of a description of symptoms? Someone that's gaining weight and they're not trying to, they're run down, they're cold all the time, losing hair, tired. What are you thinking? Maybe cordyceps? What's on your radar?
That's most certainly the first one, cordyceps. And again, to think of another trifecta, the combination of cordyceps, reishi, chaga.
Okay.
Those three can play a nice role in supporting a person's system when you are feeling that kind of fatigue. In fact, one of our webinars that we just hosted for medical professionals and retail staff over this last month was on that specific topic, that was on fatigue and energy, and we highlight cordyceps and reishi most specifically within that webinar. Cordyceps, it is the most revitalizing of all of the beneficial mushroom species that have been identified to this time. Historically, again, this is a mushroom that goes back and has many hundreds, if not thousands of years of use in traditional spaces. And it was used even that long ago to enhance oxygenation, to increase vitality, especially when people were doing high elevation work. One of the species of cordyceps is endemic to the Himalayan mountain region. Wow. So there you have populations of people who have been living for eons at very high altitudes. And obviously, whenever you're having to do work and things that are strenuous at high altitude, you have less oxygen. And so those populations came to find cordyceps as one of the natural things in their environment that they utilize to support their health and well-being while doing the work that they could at those elevations. It does some really interesting things in our body. It does not have any kind of stimulant impact in regards to, it has like no caffeine in it, these types of things. You get this energetic bump from cordyceps mushrooms because one of its capacities is that it can support oxygenation. So we have found in research that it can do a couple of different things for our respiratory system. It helps and allows us to draw more air into our lungs when we breathe in. And then it also plays a role in allowing that oxygen to diffuse through the membrane in our lungs and go into our blood system, into the systems of our body. So you get this oxygenation lift when you're using it. It's one of the reasons why athletes really enjoy this mushroom species, because it does give you that little oxygenation edge.
Right.
It also has been found in research to play a role in the production of ATP in our muscle cells. And ATP is the molecule of energy that is created in our cell organelles called mitochondria. And so that increase in ATP, also why it's a fan mushroom for athletes. So those two things in combination really provide this mushroom that capacity to improve vitality and energy and kind of more immediate energetic processes. Now, on the flip side of that, reishi in research has been shown to support more day-long energy and helping to gently build energy that you're going to have throughout the day. So the combination of reishi and cordyceps together, you can get that potential for supporting immediate energetics as well as your day-long energy. Both of these mushrooms also are considered to be adaptogenic mushrooms. So those are types of natural substances that help us with our adaptation to stress and stressors. And stress and energy are kind of two sides of the same coin. When people are under heavy stress for long periods of time, they trend towards being tired and fatigued. They have poor sleep quality. That can lead to, like not refilling your well, so to speak, of energy overnight. And so that can really move a person into some cycling that might not, be providing you with that energetic base that you need to be able to feel like you're wanting to do and can do the things you need to do in the day without feeling wiped out. And I see here you pulled up, that's our energy formula. So this, again, combines those three mushrooms I was just mentioning, cordyceps, reishi, and chaga, along with three beautiful herbs, rhodiola and eleuthero. Those are herbs that are also considered adaptogenic substances. So rhodiola is a warming adaptogen that has a capacity to support stamina and endurance. And it has a long arc of use as well in like Northern European countries, which is where it is naturally found growing. Eleuthero, sometimes that one is referred to as the king of the adaptogens. It's known to support the reduction of fatigue. Both eleuthero and rhodiola in different ways, but they have also been found in research to support oxygenation. So in that one formula, you've got four adaptogens, cordyceps, reishi, rhodiola, and eleuthero, and then you've got three ingredients that have been found in research to support oxygenation of the body, that cordyceps, rhodiola, and eleuthero. So I think it's a beautiful combo. The green tea, obviously, In this formula, you are not getting a bump from caffeine. There's like, it's
Yeah.
right around like 2% caffeine. So it's like way less than a decaffeinated cup of coffee. But green tea also naturally contains substances like EGCG, which is a wonderful antioxidant. And it also contains naturally L-theanine, which is amino acid that can help with our stress response. And again, stress and energy really kind of, they play a role with one another. So this is a great formula for people to think about taking earlier in the day. If you're going to use it with exercise, you want to take your couple of capsules like at least an hour before you get into the gym or out on the trail running or whatever you might be doing. And they are in combination, and that's the beautiful thing about mushroom herbal formulas is you're able to utilize all of those unique chemistries in combination for this beautiful entourage impact that can really help an individual, with some of their goals.
Thank you, Richard. Perfect. The Mycobotanicals energy, folks, through Host Defense Mushrooms. And this is part of that line that I was mentioning earlier in the first couple minutes of this interview, the Mycobotanicals combination there, where you got 3 of each, almost equal parts of each, too. If you look down the ingredients list there, pretty much all of them have 200, except for these last 2 at 100, but equally spaced out pretty much there across 2 capsules. And it looks like across all Host Defense products, you need pretty much just 1 or 2 capsules as an initial dose, right? You want to talk about the dosing strategy a little bit? How does somebody know where to go from there?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So with the mycobotanicals, we do suggest you stick with the serving size, 2 capsules a day. For instance, though, if you were interested in increasing that a little bit, what you could do is take your 2 capsules of the mycobotanicals energy, and then like utilizing our cordyceps powder or our cordychi powder, which is the 50-50 blend of reishi and cordyceps. You could take, with the powder up to another 3.5-4 grams of that. So if and when you're wanting that really improve your capacity, or you're feeling like you need that little extra bump when we're thinking energy, you can combine them that way. We think it's important to stick with the serving size of the mycobotanicals to the serving size that we suggest, because we're very, very stringent as a company when it comes to our safety testing. We follow, as a rule, the California Prop 65 guidelines for allowable limits of things like heavy metals and pesticides and other contaminants. And we test all of our mushroom, mycelium, and fruit bodies that we grow up to higher serving sizes. But when it comes to all of the herbs that we're sourcing from the natural products industry, we test those specifically to the amounts that are in the formula specifically. So you can take the mycobotanicals, and then if you want an extra addition of cordyceps, for instance, with the energy, you just pivot towards those cordyceps capsules or the powder, and you can provide yourself with a little bit more of that material for your serving sizes throughout the day.
Amazing. Perfect, Richard. And we did highlight lion's mane as part of that trifecta there from Paul with the agarikon and the turkey tail. We do have a 20% off right now going on at hostdefense.com for all lion's mane products right there on the homepage. As soon as you type in hostdefense.com, you'll see that at the top banner there. Hopefully that will be still going on by the time this episode airs. If not, well, we can come down a healthy habit. We have all the products we're discussing here today with Richard in our Host Defense mushroom section right here at 6029 North 7th Street at the corner of 7th Street and Bethany Home. Healthy Habit Health Foods, 6029 North 7th Street. You can also call us. We can ship nationwide, folks, 602-252-6000. And the number and everything is below this video in the description box. Again, 602-252-6000. What else do you want to leave us with here, Richard? Maybe I want to hear about a common question people ask when it comes to mushrooms. Maybe they're skeptical in the beginning. What is something you find that you're educating people a lot on that they didn't know about with mushrooms?
Yeah, thanks. I think one of the biggest questions we get asked regularly is like, what's the difference between fruit bodies and mycelium, or was mycelium really a mushroom? And that's a big question. And it's a fun one to educate on too, because quite honestly, these organisms are phenomenal. And the research, again, whether we're looking at published research on fruit bodies, on mushroom mycelium, even on mushroom mycelium fermentation broths and things, we consistently are seeing benefit being provided, whether those are animal cell studies, human clinical trials. And so we teach a lot. Obviously, we're a mycelium forward business, even though we do work with fruit bodies and they're found in our liquid extracts. But teaching about mycelium is something that I love to do. You know, in nature, we consider mycelium to almost be like the immune system of our ecosystems. In nature, mycelium is this network that is comprised of a membrane of interweaving, continuously branching cell chains that's only a single cell wall thick. It has to produce vast amounts of compounds to protect itself in that environment because it's only a single cell thick. And it is truly an exposed sentient membrane. It
Right.
is aware of its environment and it is responsive in a moment-to-moment experience in its environments. It's in constant dialogue with what's happening around it. It's reacting to things that are happening around it. It's governing the flow of essential nutrients that are literally cycling through our food chains in the ecosystems. And in more of our modern times, we've come to understand this side of these organisms. And in the research, we have found that it can too have profound impacts about supporting health and wellness. And this is the reason why Paul Stamets is so enamored by the mycelium, and it's become such a focal point for the work that Fungi Perfecti is doing out there in the world of consumerism, but also in the labs and the research that's happening at our facilities or with other universities and research labs that we're engaging with. And we're constantly finding new exciting things that are happening with mycelium in relation to human health. So that's definitely one of the places where it's always an honor to be able to work in that capacity of education when it comes to these just absolutely phenomenal organisms.
Unbelievable, Richard. By the way, that sale ends June 11th, which is going to be after or before I release this episode. This isn't live, but that's okay. There's always some kind of specials going on at hostdefense.com or here at our store, Healthy Habit Health Foods. I would highly recommend folks go to hostdefense.com. Hit here, learn. If you go to the learn section, you can see all these different recipe books, product types, mushroom benefits charts. Click learn. You'll see the Host Defense blog there where you can just read on and on for hours and get much more information there. Even the mushrooms benefits charts right here at hostdefense.com where you can see all the different benefits broken down to some common mushrooms offered by Host Defense. Richard, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you and your team. You guys are incredible.
Thank you, sir. Really nice to see you again. I really appreciate the time as well. Be well for the rest of the day.